Hi everyone, my name is Mason, and I'm 20 years old. Something happened to me not that long ago that made me fall into a trap with no idea how to find a way out of the situation. Maybe you could help me after listening to my story. Well, then subscribe to the channel and let me tell you about my relationship with Avery. I have a brother called William. Yes, as you might have noticed, we are twins. But though we look exactly alike, our personalities were completely different. William was more mature and cunning, while I was gentle and good-natured. No, really, I was a Minecraft fan. I liked to cosplay and watched anime for days on end. William always said that I was acting like a child and that I should get some adult interests since I was 20 already. But I was in no hurry to grow up. I liked the world of comics and kawaii girls. My brother and I went to different colleges, hung out with different people, and had nothing we could talk about. We still both lived in our parents' house and had separate rooms. However, one day, I met Avery, and William and I began to fight for her. It all began when he told me that he was dating someone new. I didn't think much of it because she wasn't the first girl my brother dated, and definitely wouldn't be the last. However, when he brought her over one night, my world turned upside down. It was love at first sight. I felt like I'd been hit with a bolt of lightning when I saw Avery. She was perfect. She seemed to have just stepped out of a comic book or jumped out of an anime. I opened my mouth, delighted, and couldn't say a word. I just stared at her. William was the one who brought me out of my stupor. He said he and Avery were going out and he'd be back late. Only when the door had already slammed shut behind them did I come to my senses. Long story short, I was head over heels in love. I would rush out of my room whenever she came home to see my brother and blush when she said hello to me. And then I would look at them going away for a long time from the window in my room. Yes, I envied William and wished I had a girlfriend like Avery. And one day, I got my chance. That day, Avery came over when my brother wasn't at home. But apparently, she didn't know that. So when I opened the door, she kissed me cheerfully and asked why I wasn't ready yet. She had mistaken me for William. I realized that I had to take full advantage of the situation. At that moment, I didn't think that my brother might find out about my actions. I just pretended to be him and went out with his girlfriend. And you know what? It was worth it. We spent the whole evening together. Avery didn't know about the deception and told me everything about herself. I realized that we had a lot in common. She also loved Minecraft, often baked cookies shaped like anime characters, and posted videos on TikTok. Yes, she really was perfect. I realized that I wanted to make her mine. After all, we were made for each other. Of course, I felt uneasy about lying to my brother and dating his girlfriend, but I couldn't help myself. When I got home that night, I found William there. He was busy writing a report for college and hadn't even noticed Avery coming by. He was too busy for that. I decided that the following day I would go out with his girlfriend again. That's how I started dating Avery. Or rather, she kept seeing me thinking I was William. But for me, it was the beginning of our relationship. We got to know each other better and better as time went by, and I liked that she was childishly naive and somehow unreal. It felt more like I was dating a girl from an anime. As time went on, it became harder and harder for me to keep the secret from my brother. I felt bad about deceiving him, so one evening I decided to tell him everything. I didn't know what would happen next. I thought William might even beat me up, but I didn't care anymore. I went to his room while he was doing his homework and told him we needed to have a serious talk. My brother turned to me, irritated. And then I plucked up courage and told him everything. How Avery had mistaken me for him, our dates, my feelings for her. William, you can punch me now, but I love Avery. I can't live without her, I said seriously. I expected my brother to at least yell at me, but what happened next surprised me. William smiled and said, I understand, Mason. You're my brother, and I want you to be happy. That's why I won't stand in your way. Avery is all yours now. Oh my! I hadn't expected such a turn. Maybe William was not that bad after all. I felt great, thanked my brother, and rushed to call Avery. No, I absolutely wasn't going to tell her the truth about everything. After all, if she found out I wasn't William and had been lying to her, she would probably break up with me. I decided to keep pretending to be my brother. Only now I didn't have to hide from William and could date Avery in the open. We started seeing each other almost every day, but the more we talked, the stranger things about her I noticed. Let me explain. She didn't study or work anywhere, even though she was already 21 years old. She only ever played Minecraft, hung out with other fans of the game, shot videos for TikTok wearing costumes that were clearly meant for people younger than her, and thought only about kawaii things. Even for me, it was a bit much, but Avery didn't seem to notice that the world wasn't a comic book. She acted like a little girl and thought it was cool. Sometimes it even seemed to me like she was stuck in her development. What I had found attractive about her before suddenly began to frighten me. One day, she invited me to a cosplay festival, and I couldn't tell her no. To be honest, I was a little surprised by adults dressing up as fictional characters. What did they lack in life? Avery absolutely blew me away. She was dressed as a Japanese schoolgirl with a creeper's head. It looked very strange. At the festival, everyone pointed at her and laughed behind her back. I felt embarrassed to be seen next to her, but I was her boyfriend and had to support her. At some point, I suddenly realized that Avery was simply crazy, but I couldn't tell her that. So I just endured and waited for that day of shame to come to an end. What I didn't realize was that this was just the beginning. After the festival, Avery took me to meet her parents. I hadn't met them before and thought that Avery's mom and dad would be serious, strict people. I couldn't be farther from the truth. Her dad was dressed like a teenager and acted accordingly. Her mother was wearing a costume of an anime girl and was not that different from her daughter. They were simply unhinged. I couldn't believe they were adults. Only then did I realize why Avery was the way she was, and how creepy it all looked. At that moment, I was dead set on breaking up with her. But that turned out to be quite hard to do. Avery never left me alone, which drove me nuts. I couldn't hide from her anywhere. I'd wake up in the morning and she'd be sitting next to my bed. I would look out the window and see her sending me a hand heart. I was getting really mad about it, but I couldn't bring myself to straight up tell her that I didn't want to date her anymore. I'd changed a lot since I met Avery. I hate Minecraft now. The game seems so childish to me. I felt sick of TikTok and anime. Looking at Avery, I realized how stupid I looked cosplaying Izzy Hyodo in my 20s. I couldn't pretend to like Avery anymore. I realized that I had made a terrible mistake and came to my brother to ask him for help. I told William I didn't want to date Avery anymore and asked him to take her back. But he just smiled and maliciously said, "No, Mason, she's your problem now." It turned out that William was well aware of what Avery was really like. He'd realized that she was not right in the head just a week after meeting her, but hadn't known how to get rid of her. And then I came along, his naive brother head over heels in love with her. William simply solved his problem by dumping it on me and not telling me what I was in for. At first, I felt very surprised by what I'd heard, but then I got furious with my brother. "How could you do this to me?" I shouted. But William calmly replied that Avery and I were both as bad as each other. We both acted like children and didn't want to grow up. I didn't explain that I had changed and didn't want to play those games anymore. Instead, I decided to repay him in kind. That night, when I saw Avery, I told her the truth. That I was Mason, not William, and that she couldn't go out with my brother again. I expected her to get angry with me, but she just smiled. "I know, I realized it on our first date," she said. I was shocked, but why had she kept seeing me? Avery said she hadn't been all that interested in my brother. On the other hand, she liked me a lot. "We have a lot in common. We're both crazy." Avery said I could stop pretending to be William. She added that her parents were expecting me to come to their anime party the following day. She kissed me and ran away in high spirits. I watched her go, unable to admit that I didn't want anything to do with her anymore. Avery was wrong. I'm not crazy like her anymore. Being original and being funny are two different things. She had made me take a closer look at myself, and what I saw was ridiculous and stupid. William was right. It really is time for me to grow up and leave my imaginary world behind. I'm grateful to Avery for opening my eyes to myself, but I still want to break up with her. I just don't know how to do that. Write in the comments down below. What would you do if you were me? I don't want to go to her party tomorrow.